So I've uploaded the photo of this onto the teaching space. If anybody wants to join in with me, they are more than welcome. As you can see, what I've done is I've laid it down on a board that actually is a little bit too big for this board, and I don't have a bigger board. So I've, at the moment, cut off one side, as in just folded it under. Once I've got this side of the plan done, I can then quickly do that area because most of the decisions have been made, and I can just tape it on the side for the line drawing. So it's not the full design. The design comes out to here, but that's simply because I don't have a bigger board. So to start with, piece of tracing paper over the top. I buy rolls of tracing paper, it seems cheaper, and use those, and I find it useful. Don't get the thinnest stuff because it gets very wrinkly. Try and keep it away from water and dogs' noses because that makes it wrinkle as well. But in essence, the rolled stuff, which is the medium weight, is the stuff that I use, and I find the most resilient and useful, and not too thick so you can't see detail, but not too thin that the minute a dog's nose comes near it, it's toast. So what I'm now going to do is just explain to you the options you've got with the tools that you want to use, and then I'll start drawing it up and try and explain the thought process very, very early on with it. So I've got this on my board, the printouts there, tracing papers on the top. Now I need to decide what I'm going to use to create the colours on it. There's two options I have, and I started off with Sharpies. Sharpies are great, but they are alcohol based, it's absolutely perfect for this, but you get a limited amount of colours. I tend to use these a lot when I'm doing my colour plans because they make me make decisions about colour because the colours are limited. You can buy these as separate colours, you can get packs of them and whatever, and they are a good starter if you don't. If you've already got Sharpies, they're a great way to be used. In there at the moment, I've also got my retractable pencil, which is I use for doing my drawing up. Retractable ones just gone over to, saved me probably a good half hour of not having to sharpen pencils, so they're really well recommended. But the markers I'm going to use today are these lovely ones. You can get them, I got mine off eBay. You get a pack of that for... and you can get it elsewhere. A pack of that for, I think it's about £30, which sounds like a big outlay, but you get the most amazing colours. Now these are called Copic pens, markers, and I think the Copic, if you remember it by, I remember it by that it was because they're actually used for doing comics. But in essence, a true Copic pen, you are infinitely refillable. These ones aren't, but they have the same pigments and stuff in, and they have a slight oil to them, so they can be a little sticky when you're going over them. If you're not bothered about that, which I'm not, and you get a bit of residue, that's fine. If not, they do come with a little cloth you can put on your hand to protect yourself with. But the reason why I'm using these is because they have some amazing colours when it comes to greys, and to show depth in this, I'm going to need to be able to show you different types of greys to be able to show the 3 dimensions. So these are ones I'm going to use. Very easy to work out which end is which. Chisel end doesn't have a grey slip on, so that's always your chisel end. I don't tend not to use that end, but for big areas it's fine. And the other end you've got, which is a pointed end, and you will always see the grey on that side of the white one, so you're never going to have to keep seeing which end it's which. You just look for the grey tip. These go down just as well. But again, they have a slightly oily residue to them. It's meant to be there. It's fine. You'll get used to it. So now I'm going to start with my Copic pens to work up my colour plan. Go. So the way I've discovered the best way to work is actually you start with the whites and the blacks. And in this there is very little white, but there's an awful lot of black. So the first thing I'm going to do is identify the areas that are black, and you carry on doing that. Now I can carry on doing that as we're here, but you can see me develop that in a minute. But as you can see, first thing I'm doing is just basically identifying the blacks. What I find is if you don't identify the blacks first, as you put colour on, the blacks then get mixed up with the other darker colours, and it gets a bit confusing. So get the blacks and the whites in. the way I do, I white, and I'm going to put a piece of white in this because I want the purest part of this to be this reed here, which basically will define it as the centre point. It is the purest colour, it's the nearest thing to us that's not a reflection or in the background. So using a chalkboard pencil or pen, you can buy them and they're for pubs and chalkboard signs and stuff. I'm just going to put a line in, you can't see it, but when that dries, as it should do, soon, or this one's running out, is you'll find that now you can see there's a slight line. If this was a better pencil, then it had more in it, then you'd see that much brighter. I'm going to put that in, and really that's the only bit of white, so as far as I'm concerned that can go away at the moment. I'm now going to continue, and we'll probably fast forward through it. I'm just going to identify all the blacks now. Then I'm going to come back and discuss and explain to you what the next step is to start creating a colour plan and the decisions you then need to start making here to make sure that your batik is what you actually want at the end of the day.